Hey everyone, my name is Tejas and this is the Squibbler. This is actually my second time recording this video because the first time I did, the audio was regardless. Here we go. Today we're going to be talking about the Magical Creatures Reserve in Hogwarts Mystery, and I know it's been out for about a month already, but when this first got released, we only had access to about 3 creatures. Right now we have info up to 6 of these magical creatures. So there's lots more to talk about, so let's dive right into it. Oh, before that, in about 20 minutes or so, I'm going to be going live on the Order podcast. We're going to be doing a quiz from Pottermore, and it should be a fun one. I'll show you guys a sneak peek at the very end of this video, and I'll leave a link to the full podcast at the end of this video, and I'll also leave a link to it in the description box down below. So without further ado, let's talk about the Magical Creatures Reserve before I need to go live in about 20 minutes. So the Magical Creatures Reserve, for those of you who may not have opened your app for the past month, is basically a new location in Hogwarts Mystery where you can adopt creatures and you can basically bond or feed them, and you can increase their level. So this works similarly to how it works with the friendship quests in Hogwarts Mystery. As you progress in your years and your storyline, you get to unlock new characters, new friends, and you can increase your friendship levels with them by doing the quests like having a butterbeer or having a meal with them, etc. So similarly, as you increase your Magizoologist level, you will be able to unlock new creatures along the way, and as you unlock these new creatures, you can get to adopt them, and like I said, you get to bond and feed them and increase their respective levels. And as is tradition, as you increase your level with these creatures, you get to unlock rewards as well. So energy, gems, notebooks, you name it, you get all of these rewards as you increase the levels for these respective creatures. Now, when you first start off the Magical Creatures Reserve, you'll be given free access to the Niffler, which is pretty much very easy to level up. And you start off your Magizoologist level at level 1, obviously, and you basically get to increase that as you bond and feed with your creatures. Once you reach Magizoologist level 2, you get to unlock 2 new creatures, the Porlock and the Fairy. The Porlock costs only 2 red notebooks, so that's definitely the one I recommend you get next. And after the Porlock is the Fairy, which costs a whopping 30 red notebooks. So it might be a little scary at first, a little daunting to see that it costs 30 red notebooks, but don't worry, it's pretty much easy to get those notebooks as long as you finish all of your House Pride events or the House Crest events. Most of those give red notebooks either way. So give it a month or so, you should be able to purchase the Fairy. But before you purchase the Fairy, I highly recommend that you reach Magizoologist level 3 and then you purchase the Bowtruckle first. Yes, the Bowtruckle costs 40 red notebooks, which is 10 red notebooks more than the Fairy, but the rewards for the Bowtruckle are far, far better than the Fairy. For example, you can refer to this chart over here, but I'll also just read through it briefly. Basically, for the Fairy, it gives you across the 10 levels of increasing the level for the Fairy. It gives you 6 energy, 400 gold, 10 red notebooks, 1 brown notebook, and 2 gems. As for the Bowtruckle, it gives you 54 energy, 1400 gold, 11 red notebooks, 1 brown notebook, and 15 gems. So you can clearly see that the rewards are way better for the Bowtruckle as compared to the Fairy, and the Bowtruckle only costs about 10 red notebooks more than the Fairy. So I definitely recommend, if you have not purchased the Fairy yet, that you purchase the Bowtruckle first, or rather not purchase, adopt, as they're called. Adopt the Bowtruckle first and then work on your Fairy afterwards. But either way, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you're still going to be getting those rewards regardless of whether you do the Fairy first or the Bowtruckle. In Magizoologist level 3, you also get access to the Abraxan, which is basically a winged horse. And this horse costs you 90 red notebooks. So it's a very long way to go for majority of the players out there, I'm sure, especially free-to-play players. It's going to be a while until you can get access to the Abraxan. And the sixth creature that we currently have a little bit of information about, we don't know how much it costs, but I'm guessing it will get unlocked in Magizoologist level 4, and it is the Acromantula, and it has similar leveling up requirements as the fairy actually. So we don't know the cost for this yet, and I'm guessing it gets unlocked in Magizoologist level 4. But yeah, that's pretty much all the creatures that we have information for right now. For the bonding, it takes 12 hours of reset time for all of the creatures, regardless of how cheap they are to adopt or how expensive they are. As for the feeding times, it does vary according to the creature. So the first few creatures, like the Niffler and the Porlock, will be a much lesser reset time for the feeding times, versus something like the Bowtruckle or the Abraxan will require you to wait about 6 hours until you can feed them again. You have 3 options to feed them: the 1 food bag option, the 2 food bag option, and the 3 food bag option. I definitely recommend you do the 3 food bag option all the time because it's definitely value for money. On top of that, food is the food bags that you can get are very easily accessible throughout Hogwarts. In Hogwarts Mystery, you can very easily get them through rewards by completing classes. If not, you can also do a dedicated quest solely to find these food bags. You can find that quest in the corridor in the lower floor west, which costs you about 50 energy for 4 food bags. So I don't recommend doing this. I rather you just continue and focus on your classes, which you can help to increase your attribute levels as well. And while you're working on that, you can get the rewards either way. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Magical Creatures Reserve. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Subscribe to the Order podcast as well. We talk about lots of interesting stuff there, from Wizards Unite all the way to anything Harry Potter related. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Here is the sneak peek for the Order podcast. Hey, just one final thing I wanted to say before you watch the sneak peek. I am going to be releasing some behind the scenes footage on my Patreon page, so definitely go check out my Patreon page. I'll leave a link to it in the description box down below. There'll be some behind the scenes footage for this video that I shot today, so go check it out. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram if you want to as well. And yeah, now on to the sneak peek for the Order podcast.
I'm clicking it. We're wrong.
What?
Oh no, what?
It was blue
It was
and
blue and
what?
yellow.
No.
How was it blue? That was like my last pick.
Yes. Hagrid is right.
Not really. That was my second guess.
I think we need to start second guessing ourselves. No problem.
That's my answer.
I wrote 4.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, ditto 4. That's my.
All right,
my
YOLO.
guess.
Oh, we're right. That's good.
We're right.
I
Oh,
can't
nice.
afford to lose another one.
I was tempted to pick 5 because I was like, how about all of them?
Yeah.
All of the
Yeah.
buildings of Trifle.